Okay, let's thank today's sponsors. Eagle Energy is a plant-based caffeine inhaler. For those of you that are looking for an alternative to, 4 coffees a day, high sugar, high caffeine, I think Eagle Energy is the product for you. It is a plant-based inhaler that has 0 calories, 0 sugar, and it works within 3 to 5 minutes. Rather than these high sugary energy drinks that could take up to 30 to 45 minutes to kick in. Remember, Eagle Energy, no calories, no sugar. It is a plant-based product, so when you're talking to your friends at the dinner table, you can say that it's plant-based so you can sound good about yourself or feel good about yourself. You can take it anywhere you go, classroom, to work, maybe to hockey, to any sporting event that you go to. It just gives you that little pickup. It gives you that little boost that you need throughout the day to make sure that you stay focused on your tasks at hand. And let's be honest, people, everyone needs a little bit of energy in today's world. Everyone's running around left, right, and center, trying to get everything done. Eagle Energy is what allows me to stay focused, and it makes sure that I finish all my tasks at hand. I want this product to be in your hand. Make sure to head over to eagle.energy and pick up your Eagle Energy today.
Doing my joint.
Right there, right there, right there.
That's why I'm here. Joint finder.
All right, Classified, we're going. Thanks for coming to the show, man. Appreciate it.
All good. Thanks for coming out.
Well, I was going to say, I shouldn't say thanks for coming. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, all good, man.
Don't get me wrong. I'm pumped to talk to you, but I think I'm just equally as pumped to be in this studio.
Yeah, man. That's where I spend all my time. All my time. Last 8 years we've been out here now. So
8 years.
That's where we make everything. Spend 90% of my day out here. So.
Do you like being out here doing work?
I do. That's why I was like, hey, man, can you guys come out here? I'm comfortable in Enfield, you know what I mean? If I go in the city, it's like, I don't know. It just feels like it takes my whole day to go into the city and do something, even though it's only a half hour away. But
and talk about being out here, like, yeah, you're out here in Enfield. You're outside of, a part of Canada or a part of the United States that would be really hectic. Do you find you're able just to focus in Nova Scotia in general and just, have no one really bothering you that much? Do you find that can help with your creative process? Does that make sense?
At the same time, I've never, to be honest, I've never did the whole, let's go to LA and try to make music. Let's go to Toronto and make music.
Yeah.
I've only ever recorded in a real studio one time and I hated it. Like I went to a real studio, we worked with some people. And I don't like the vibe. I just like being on my own time, my own space, and be able to, go and have some supper and be like, oh shit, an idea. I know, put it down. Yeah. It just gives me a lot of freedom where if you're in a studio, it's like, okay, you get 6 hours, you're here, get it done, and when you leave, you're done.
Well, it's funny you say that because like when I listen to your music, sometimes I'll hear, lines about your wife or your kids, but you can be in the middle of making a song, you got a call from your wife, hey, dinner's ready, you go out and see your kids, see your wife, and then you come back here. Am I on the right path there? Like, yeah, you're in a family environment
point,
here.
Man. Like I didn't want to be the rapper that's gone from his family for 8 months of the year and, kind of comes in and checks in and doesn't even know how to live a normal life. Like I wanted to have, and I treat this shit like a normal life. Like I try to do this 9 to 5, go in, hang with the family, and do my after supper stuff with the kids, and try to make it like it's a real job, and try to keep a real balance of life and rap life.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Enfield.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up here as a kid?
Ground hockey. That's all we did.
Stupid question. I should have known
Canadian
the answer.
small town, same as any small town in Canada. I think it's, you know what I mean. Everyone kind of knows everybody. I think it was like me and 2 or 3 other people that listened to rap music. We were kind of outcasts because like back in, the early 90s, it wasn't like nowadays where everybody listens to everything. It was like you had your rocker guys, you had the people that just listened to the C100, the top 40 type stuff. And then hip hop was just kind of crossing over to, middle class Canada, whatever you want to call it. So
where do you listen to it on? CD player or cassette?
Cassette days, but cassette.
Did you have the yellow one by any chance? I had the yellow one with the yellow headphones.
Yeah.
The sports one, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we actually shot a video this year for a song called Changes where we had a person dress up as the yellow discman.
The yellow discman.
And it's like his life nowadays where he doesn't fit in and kind of just walking around the streets as a discman. Stupid idea, but so stupid it was funny. Exactly. Like it makes sense. So yeah, no, Walkman, dubbing cassettes tape to tape.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
It's funny when you think about like your career, you know, you're a successful hip hop, you know, artist, but at the same time, every single person, you know, listen to that Walkman, listen to rap. It's just a matter of, you know, you wanted to turn it into a career and you did. So that's kind of cool how a lot of people have the same beginnings, but if you just put the time and effort into it, it can turn into this.
Yeah, like
that's kind of crazy.
That's what it kind of came from was, you know, small town hitchhiking with my headphones on, and like that's where I fell in love with rap music, was being by myself, walking down the street for an hour, headphones in, and it's just listening to the lyrics, the beats, the vibe. It was just, I don't know what it was, honestly, because, you know, like there was always music around. My dad was in bands. There was always, you know, different types of music, but hip hop was just such, I don't know, just grabbed me right away, and then kind of dove into it, bought my first little 4-track, recorded in my closet in my bedroom to kind of building up to this.
Did you ever feel like an outcast back then when you said that rap was your... Yeah. Like it's hockey, obviously.
Yeah, like even when I started rapping, like I was that kid that everyone called a wigger or whatever you'd want to call, like, you know, white kid trying to be black, typical bullshit, small-minded people. But you know what I mean? Like, I think I kind of grew past that, and I, you know, was whatever it is. But no, I definitely felt like I'm doing something no one else is doing, and even people that kind of made fun of me or took their shots at me, I see them now and they're the first ones to kind of congratulate me and go, man, it's so cool what you turned this into. And it's like, man, I don't forget what you said. Yeah,
really.
Like, yeah, I remember what you said before. As people grow up, you know what I mean? Dumb kid shit, so I don't hold grudges, but yeah, I don't forget that stuff.
Drive to be able to, you know, to have a career you've had. You need, some people get inspiration otherwhere, like from a bunch of people. Some it's from bullies, some it's from, you know, seeing a friend be successful and you're a little jealous and you want to do that. There's other artists that you see and you want to become that. What do you think was your main drive? Because there's obviously, you can't lie, there's a point where you're doing this and you get frustrated and you want to quit, but some people just have that extra oomph. Like I think you said in one of your songs when we were listening to, you're like, you got to give that little oomph and go. Where do you get your oomph from? Inner Ninja. Yeah, Inner Ninja. Where do you get your oomph from?
Originally it was just because I loved it. Like it wasn't no other reason other than, oh shit, I can record myself, hear my voice. Okay, I'm rapping. You know what I mean? I love the music and the fact that I could do it. I think that's the thing with rap, and it's different than any other genre of music, is you don't have to have a good voice. You don't have to learn how to play guitar or piano and spend years about how to, you know, learning how to do that.
I never thought of that.
Anybody can pick up and go, okay, let me try to make, you know, obviously you got to work on your flow and how you want to sound, but it's something that you can kind of come out and go, boom, I'm rapping now. I'm trying some stuff. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of whack shit. When mine came out, my shit was whack, but I still enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I show my couple friends that listen to rap and be like, oh, that's cool. And then, you know, I did my first show and it was, you know, in front of 15 people that were excited to see it. And just that excitement, you know, getting back from people, that was motivating too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Any artist, I feel at the beginning, like we just said, you know, it's at least I'm starting to figure this out. It's a struggle in a way, almost to convince other people that you want to do this for a career. It can come down to parents, it can come down to friends. When you hit a certain age, you see your friends buying houses, having kids, doing certain things to almost set up an adult life, if that's really such a thing. Did you ever have a struggle with that? Like maybe with your parents saying, listen, I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. Did you have any backlash from anyone, any peers, anything like that? Or did you just not let that focus you?
Because just like I said, when I was 16, 17, my dad had his band. They were like, you know, like
what was the name of the band?
Harmony. Harmony. I don't know.
Shout out to Harmony.
Yeah, shout out to Harmony. But like my dad was the guy in the band that had like the equipment and the mics and would have it in the basement, and the band would come over practice in our basement. So that was kind of like, oh shit, okay, we got some mics in the back in the basement. We'd get our little cassettes of dubbed beats that we'd make. And, you know, we could kind of record ourselves like that.
So when you took an act of rapping, he was kind of happy.
Yeah, he was like, oh, cool, you're into music, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm very optimistic. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be big and rich and famous and live off rap music. Like I was like, yeah, I'm
doing it for fun.
I'm a kid. Exactly. Did it for fun. And we kind of kept making, you know, kept growing with it, kept getting a little bit of growth. But I still, you know, finished high school, graduated. I went to CompU College for a year.
How was that? School?
It was, well, originally I reached out and I was like, yo, I'm trying to get into music. I was thinking, you know, maybe I could be like a studio engineer, shit like that. I was like, you know, I need a program that teaches me that type of stuff. And they're like, oh, we got to, yeah, totally. Like, but they are like, you know, we got a course perfect for you. It teaches you about computers. It had nothing to do with anything I needed. It's like a month long teaching you how to type, a month long teaching you about networking and all this stuff.
How'd you feel about that? Teaching you how to
typing,
network.
I use a lot. Typing, I'm glad I learned that. The rest of it was just kind of whatever. But I did end up getting like an internship job for 4 months.
Where at?
MT&T X-Wave, the big tall building in the end of Spring Garden. The big the tallest building in Halifax.
What?
And the Spring Garden.
Is it still there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
Maritime
Bell
Center.
building.
The Maritime Center.
Oh, they got a great elevator there, the glass window going up. Yeah, okay.
So I worked on the 5th floor for that for like a year, and I was 21 years old, making like 40 grand a year.
Were you living out here when you worked there?
No, I moved to the city. I was in the city for like 8 years.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? As a 20-year-old kid making money like that, I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is great." You know what I mean? And then slowly, you know, business and whatever slowed down, and a bunch of us were getting laid off. So I was like, "Okay, I'm getting laid off. I got a year of unemployment, some good unemployment money. I'm just gonna go music hardcore and just see what happens for the next year."
Did you have money saved up?
Not at this point.
You blew it all?
I had nothing. No, I bought a car. I bought, you know, didn't have anything saved up. But I had my unemployment coming every 2 weeks or whatever. But the last day on that job, my last day, it was like I was all set up to go for unemployment. They offered me a different job in the company.
What was the job?
Just something else with computers, like some other kind of network support. I worked the help desk. They'd call and be like, "Hey, I can't do this." I'd be like, "Hey, reboot your computer. Call me back if it don't work." That was
So
like
you're the tech guy in the company.
I was the tech guy, but I wasn't very good. I was a good talker.
You're
I
just
kind of
faking
talk
it.
my way around.
So you're like a good salesman or something like that.
Straight up. But they did offer me a job paying the same thing the day of, and my parents were like, "Oh, this is great." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not taking it. Like, I'm ready for unemployment." I was just so set in my mind of like, "Oh, I got a year to do music, go at it this hard, don't have to worry about bills because of the unemployment." So I was like, "Yeah, thank you, but no thank you." And my parents were pissed about that because they knew I went to Compy College and all this shit, and I had student loans. But now they're like,
yeah, of course now.
Yeah. Now, you know, it's easy to make a decision. But yeah, back then they were a little bit upset about that, but they knew I was doing what I wanted to do, and it never went back to work since then.
So what's the turning point for you though? Like you obviously
that was the turning point for me. That was the one to be like, okay, I'm going to stay with this, you know, safe job, or I'm going to do what I really want to do for the next year.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of, you know, I had my notepad out and I'd be like, you know, Jay Brew's buying a beat, $100. Quake's going to record for 3 hours. Okay, $60. And, you know, monthly, I'd do this till I got my monthly rent done, you know, get a couple shows. And then after like 6-7 months, I noticed that I was starting to bank money, and I was like, oh shit, I got $5 grand in the bank now. You know, so when unemployment ran out, I had, you know, 10 grand in my bank. I was making some money off music and kind of just kept going from there, and it just kept growing.
That's so sick. You just dove in, just like anything.
But because I had the unemployment, like I keep stressing that, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to have that chance to be like, yo, let me just sit home and just make music for a year and see how it goes.
How old were you when you made the Maritimes?
That was 2005, I think. So I would have been like 24.
So that's 4 years after you quit that job.
Yeah, it was during trial and error when I quit that job. So that was 2003, I think.
I want to know the story behind that song. Like, did you record it? Like, where did you record it?
It was in my apartment on Almond Street.
So how did it start? Were all the boys just drinking around, having some beers? And
Friday night, I remember Spesh was over. There was a couple of us, and I made the chorus first because I had the beat made. I always just make beats, and you know, we'll put them on when we're messing around. And I remember thinking like, oh, this shit sounds like some old Maritime stuff, you know, bagpipes, whatever. And one of us, I don't even know who it was, but just started singing along.
Who started singing the chorus?
I honestly can't even remember who it was. But yeah, the boys were feeling good. So we recorded it, you know what I mean? Didn't think anything of it. And this was like on a Friday, Saturday night. And the next Monday, when I kind of sat down in the studio and kind of like, what am I working on today? I brought that up, and I was like, shit, this is cool. Let me just finish this off. And it was more so like an interlude. Like, it wasn't supposed to be a full song. That's why if you listen to it, it's like a chorus at the end, one long verse, and a chorus at the start and the end. There's no like
it's just
verses and breakup. It's, you know what I mean? There's not like, it's not broke up like a typical song would be. So
do you go to Moosehead games anymore? Do you still go?
I haven't gone to a Moosehead game
since you made the Maritime song.
Yeah, no, I've gone a few times since then.
I remember listening to it
in a while. Yeah.
I was like, why? Because I used to go to Moosehead games all the time. I still do. I was like, why doesn't he go to the Moosehead games? What does he have against the Mooseheads? He hates the Mooseheads.
This is when I was on my hockey hating style. Yeah. No, but that was like 2005. I think we made that.
You know what's funny about that song is that my mom showed me that song for the first time. She goes, you know where you're from, right? I'm like, Halifax. She goes, no, you're from the Maritimes. Listen to this. And then she put the song on, and then she's like, man, this is where you're from. I'm like, look, he said the Mooseheads. I was like, oh, who is this guy? I just remember the first time I ever heard of you. That was way back then.
Yeah.
I told my mom I was coming on here. She goes, you're going to see Classified, right? I was like, yeah, I'm going. She goes, all right, make sure you wear a dress shirt. I'm like, all right, Mom, I'll wear a dress shirt.
That's the last thing. Yeah, I don't wear dress shirts too much, so I'm glad you did.
Yeah, well, I got to look somewhat professional here.
Yeah, look good, bud. You look good.
Appreciate it. Okay, so then after, you know, your little bit of success there, did ego ever kick in?
Nah.
Nothing.
Can't, man. I got too many friends, family that
kept you in check in a
same
way.
people. Like I got.
But there must be times where
two
you
or
go
three
out.
of my best friends are still the same friends I had when I was 5 years old. Like,
Yeah.
you know, one lives up in Lance, the other one lives in Dartmouth. But like, I hang with them all every Friday night. It's
Yeah.
the same people. My family, my brothers both tour with me. My dad plays on my records. Like, there's just really no. And I fucking hate people with egos, man.
Yeah.
Like, they're the most annoying people in the world.
If you know them.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like even with Kanye. Like, Kanye, I'm the biggest Kanye West fan. Like, his shit when he came out. But I can't even listen to his music now just because
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. Like, it really does, because it's like, this guy's either half nuts or he's just so cocky about himself and thinks he's above everybody on a genius level, which maybe he is. But when I hear somebody talking about themselves that way, it just really turns me off and just corny.
Do you
Like,
see
it's
that
just corny to
sometimes,
me.
like in other friends in the music industry? You saw them when they first started out, and 10 years later they blow up and they're not even the same person. Do you see that a lot in the industry that you're in?
Not so much like that. I think that's a Canada thing too. Like, honestly,
I
like
never thought of
I
it
think
that
the
way.
industry is so small here. It's like most people that know what's up know that it's like you're gonna run into the same people on your way up and your way down. Obviously, you have some people that, you know, just got that attitude, and some of them don't even know they have it, which is, you know, you almost feel bad for them. It's like, you don't even know how stupid you sound right now, trying to be like, you know, someone walks in a room, people are having conversations, and they got to interrupt everything and talk about them and what they're doing. It's like, man, we're just chilling and hanging out. Just little things like that kind of just like,
Yeah.
you know, check yourself and just come back to reality and realize what's going on in the room before you kind of just start making stupid comments.
And
Yeah, it's just like, man, no one cares about that shit right now. We're chilling. We're normal people having a conversation. You don't gotta try to build yourself up.
And it sounds like
That shit
surrounding.
sounds like insecurity to me. Like, really.
Yeah.
Like people they're looking for recognition. They're looking for like,
Approval.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly.
like classified likes me, so I'm the shit. Don't worry about anything else. I'm fine, because
Yeah.
And it is true. I like how the fact that you said it's Canadian, because you've traveled to the States and you've been other places around the world. So you've probably seen, like I said, artists that just come and go, and they're in 1 minute and then they're out the next. But you've had a career,
especially nowadays, like with the streaming and like artists are so
you just
quick
rent a
turning
Rolls Royce
around.
for an hour and artist. Yeah. So what do you think the key is to longevity in this business? Because you're in the music
Man,
business.
nowadays,
but
I don't know. Cause like I came up in a different game. Like when I came out, you'd have the videos on Much Music, records in stores,
Much
the
Music,
award
the
shows,
awards right
whatever
there.
it is. But now it's like there's
Sick.
so many like streaming. Like Joe Blow could put out a song, get on the right playlist, and have 10 million streams.
does that ever piss you off?
No, not really, because it's like whatever. People enjoy the music. I'm more concerned with the people that are like, what are you going to do? Because streaming don't pay.
It doesn't pay?
It very little. Like you get 10 million streams. Maybe that's, what is it, like $5,000 a million streams. So
What?
on average.
Say that again. How many streams?
I think it's $5,000 for a million streams.
Wow. That's nothing.
That's an average if you look at all the different streaming services. So someone who has 10 million streams, it's like, okay, you made 50 grand. So you ain't living off that. And a lot of these artists that are doing this don't have real fan base. Like they can't go tour and do shows, and you know what I mean? Like some of them turn it into that, but a lot of them, they don't. It's just some internet shit. And it's like, for me, that's where I make 90% of my money is shows. A lot of people don't
Going
even
on
do
tour.
shows. Totally. A lot of people will put out their song, do their videos, and they've never did a show in their life. And if they ever get a chance, they're on stage and they have no idea how to talk to a crowd, how to perform. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but there is a good majority, and it's not their fault. It's just the way the industry is now. Is anyone can put some shit on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, blow up on the internet, and then in real life they really don't. It doesn't.
Oh, that would suck.
And it just comes so quick. It's like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of rappers that came in the last year or two that's like, oh shit, this is the next hot thing. It's everywhere. And this year it's like, no one gives a fuck because they're on to the next thing. It's just so much music nowadays.
Did you ever have a point where you first started to perform and have to adjust? Like, did you ever get nervous the first time you went out and then you noticed 2 years later you were fine and it just came like breathing to you? Or is there still a little bit of
There's
nerve?
still over like anxiety, nervousness, whatever you want to say, just until you get on stage and kind of say the first thing you say, and then it kind of goes away and you're like,
It's just like
I'm in the
with this
groove.
podcast, like before, not even last night, but today, a little nervous, classified. But as soon as we start, you're just another
Shoot the
guy.
shit. Yeah, you're comfortable, man.
You're just
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah.
It's
But
funny
no,
how it's like that and all.
But no, I still have that. And like with what you're questioning, every show you do, you learn something else. And that's why I'm like, yo, do shows if you're a new artist. Because you know, like the last tour we did, I'm like, yo, this song works really good. Oh shit, we did that. Okay, let's do that every show now. Like you just do little things and you learn. It's like hockey. You learn how to take a better wrist shot. You learn how to keep your head up. Like you learn new things to make the show better.
Can you give me an example of like the latest thing you've learned, maybe?
Not like even a thing I learned, but like I got a song called Fallen on my new album, and we usually do the song live. It's full on instrumental, you know, but on one show, the DJ cut out the beat by mistake and my keyboard player just kept playing, and it was just me rapping over the keys. And now I was like, oh, that shit was killing. It was all a mistake. But now every show we drop the beat out at the exact same spot. I rap over just the keyboard player, and then the DJ brings the beat back in the end and kind of picks the energy up. But just little things like that you're just like, yo, I only did this because we did it once on stage and it worked. And now I'm going to kind of mark it down in the book and keep it forever.
Not a lot of people sound good like that, though.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's all
Yeah.
about the beat and like what's the editing of it, right, to make them sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, even nowadays, like a lot of rappers just rap over their songs. They just do
Yeah.
ad-libs. They're like the background singer and they yell over the things. But no, like I take a lot of pride in that. Like we've even been doing at some shows where it's just me and my guitar player, like, or David Miles and my drum machine. We do like a whole hour-and-a-half show and it's just rapping over guitar, and it's crazy. Like for me, performing as long as I have to find this new way to perform, it's been like, that's what the next tour is going to be, is just me, my guitar player, and my keyboard player, and just, it's more about the songwriting. Like we did these shows and people are crying, people are laughing. It's just a whole different vibe than the, 12 o'clock, everyone drunk, put your hands up, we're partying type typical show that we do. But yeah, man, it's just trying to find new ways to keep it interesting.
What does that feel like to make a fan cry in a good way,
crazy,
obviously?
man.
Like,
Crazy.
what's that feeling like?
Crazy.
Can't describe it?
Nah, it's goosebumps shit. Like it's...
Yeah, I might cry right now.
There's a couple songs just when we do this stuff, and it's just, you know what I mean? You're rapping and you just look in the crowd and you could see someone, and your first thing that goes through my mind is like, like a song like Powerless, where it's about child abuse. It's about missing Indigenous women, like some serious shit. And you see someone in the crowd, I kind of look at them and go, okay, they were either went through this or they know someone went through this. And I kind of just, it fucks me up sometimes because I kind of lose train of thought of what I'm doing and I start thinking about what they're thinking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, man, it's really cool, especially when you talk to them after the show and they're like, yo, when this happened and man, I couldn't keep it in, like my uncle or whatever their story is, you know what I mean? I've heard a lot of different stories, but just to hear someone react over something I'm saying or something that I wrote and seeing that it helped them or, help them get through something, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, you're rapping about real shit. Exactly.
And just,
There's some people that don't, and that's why it doesn't hit them in that way, right?
yeah.
and I'm hoping that's why I'll be able to do this shit till I'm 60, 70 years old, is because it's not, I like to call it timeless music. It's not current. It's not just like, oh, this is the hot shit right now. This is the current vibe of what's going on. It's like music that I hope people can play in 10, 15 years and still get something out of it.
Who is the ideal classified fan? Like when you go on the road and you see people from BC to Halifax,
Small town
individuals.
most of the time. Well,
Yeah.
I say that, but at the same time, like Toronto is usually our biggest show on tour, you know what I mean?
Big town.
But I think a lot of people for even those shows are coming from, the Barries, the Hamilton. Yeah, exactly. Small town stuff. But I find that's kind of, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like I feel like that's kind of the most relatable, fan that I get. It's like, yo, I'm from here, and it's like, your music, I heard it when I was 15 years old, and you were talking about shit that no other rapper was talking about. Nowadays it's a little different because there's rappers coming from everywhere rapping about everything. But like when I came out, there was no white kids rapping small town stuff. Like even when I came out, that was before Eminem. Like you had Beastie Boys, which was New York, you know what I mean? You had House of Pain, which was like still kind of like gangster, hardcore rap. And you had like Vanilla Ice, which was like the joke.
He's going to Churro soon, by the way.
Yeah,
he has a show in
we
Churro.
got offered to open up for that show. So.
You got offered to open up?
Yeah, I was like, fuck that.
I was gonna say.
And I want to do shows. Like I'd love to go back to Churro and do a show, but yeah, it didn't make sense. But it's cool, you know what I mean? Like that, you know what I mean? We're getting these old school shows. Like they had the 90s. What's it called? I love the 90s shows at the Metro Center. It's like Salt and Pepper,
Really?
Biz Markie. Yeah, like a bunch of us went, like 20 of us went and had a great time. So it's cool that shit's coming back. But anyway,
cool.
I'm losing track of where I was going with this.
I don't even forget. I forget what I was asking. Next question. Yeah. So when I think of you and I think of a rapper in Canada or just this part of the world, East Coast of Canada, like you might not think it, but right now you're helping out the High Button tremendously because you're giving us credibility right now. And then after this podcast, someone's going to listen to it and be like, wow, you know, the High Button had Classified on. That's a big stepping stone. You might not think it, but it's helping us tremendously. But when I think about a hip hop artist before you, I can't really think of anyone. I'm sure that your knowledge of Canadian hip hop is a lot better than mine. I don't know anyone, but who was the guy that really said, all right, you're coming with me, Classified, let's do this, I'll help you out? Because I can't think of anyone. Or are you the pioneer?
No, I'm definitely not the pioneer. But I'll be the first to say that I never had no one put me on either. You know what I mean? I tried to find that person, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you got to give yourself some credit.
Drake to Lil Wayne, you know what I mean? He had the Lil Wayne hookup. A lot of rappers get the cosigns. But I don't think I'm a rapper's rapper. Like, most rappers aren't like, oh, Class is my favorite rapper. Like, my shit is for regular motherfuckers that are just doing their thing. They're not trying to be rap stars. They're not looking at me like, oh, he's the coolest rapper out. It's like, no, I get something out of his music. And it took me a while to realize that, because
you created your own genre. Is that what?
My own lane. I'd say.
Own lane. Okay.
Definitely a lot more people doing that lane now. But I think when I came out, there just wasn't a lot of people rapping from my point of view, I guess.
Okay.
But, you know, to say that, like in Canada, you got your Maestro Fresh Wests, your Chocolaires, Socrates Cardinal, Swollen, Chaos. Like, these are guys that I kind of, you know, even when I was doing my own rap thing, was paying attention to them, to what they're doing. And it was just so, this was before Drake blew up, so it was so Canada. Like, when you're saying you never heard of a lot of other Canadian rappers, it was because it was such a, it was just kind of for the culture, you know what I mean? If you were in the scene and you were paying attention, you'd know about it. But if you were just watching, you know, or
BET, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I think Chocolaire was the first rapper to ever be from Canada, be on BET, and that was, you know, 10 years after I was already listening to Canadian hip hop and stuff. So definitely a cool scene and lots of great music too, but it just didn't get the mainstream success or attention.
I think you got to give yourself more credit. I do. I don't know. Like,
I'm not a cocky person.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Humble, man. Humble.
Oh yeah. You're not cocky. We get it.
Well, you know what I mean? Saying that, like, I'm not stupid either. Like, it's like, I definitely think I created a lane, and, you know, I think there's a lot of rappers who came up and people who even hit me up. It's like, yo, I heard you were doing this, doing the Maritimes, whatever it was. And it kind of said, oh, okay, like a rapper like this can come out of Canada. Let me do my thing. So I think there's definitely people I influence, even with Sunreal. I was with Sunreal last week, and he kind of said the same thing. He was like, yo, you were one of those guys that I saw and was like, yo, we can do this from Canada. So it's cool when people say that. Like, it's cool that they paid attention, but yeah.
Creating a lane, though, that takes patience. Like, creating an actual lane for a career. Yeah.
Straight up. Like, a lot of my career is I shouldn't say it's fluke, because, you know, I work hard at my shit and I keep going hard at my shit, but, you know, just things work out. Like, even when we dropped Oh Canada, we dropped that. It was the fourth single on the album, and all of a sudden, oh, the Olympics are in Canada. Oh shit, okay. You know what I mean? And then that became the Canadian anthem of the Olympics, and it wasn't planned by any means. It was like the song came out in December, the Olympics came in February, and it was like, oh, perfect, straight up. And
so that wasn't even planned. It just happened.
Not at all. Like Sony didn't even want to make that a single. Like, that was just almost like the Maritimes. It was like, cool, you know, something I made for Canada, but it wasn't a big single. But then, you know, we had Anybody Listening, we had Up All Night, Quit While You're Ahead, like 3 or 4 singles out. And I was like, yo, before we finish with this album, let's put out Oh Canada. Let's shoot a video. And they're like, cool, if you want to do it up. And we did it, and it became, you know, the biggest song I had thus far.
Oh, yeah. How many people came out for that? It was hard to tell in the video, but it looked like
hundreds. Coldest day in the world, too.
Was it?
Cold. Yeah.
What month was it?
It was January. Yeah.
I don't know.
Man. Freezing.
Well, it's cold 8 months of the year here. I don't know. It could have been March. It could have been
December.
Could have been July. I don't
February.
know.
Solidifies that aspect of it.
Yeah, man. But people came through, and like, just being so cold. But it was the excitement of, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't shoot videos down here, you know what I mean, at this time anyway.
Did you have to get a permit for that video? Or did you just say people come out?
No, I think they did. Like, yeah, we had like a video team, and I'm pretty sure they had a permit and all that stuff for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's it like going to Sidney Crosby Stanley Cup party?
Cool.
You got to give me more than that. You're not leaving here.
Good time.
It was cool. Next question. No, you got to give me more.
Well, he only lives like 5 minutes down the road. Right?
I used to landscape his house. One of my first jobs was landscaping.
Yeah.
So we used to go down there.
And like, originally someone reached out, and they're like, hey man, Sydney's having this party. Would you be interested in come up and do a few songs? I was like,
no.
Down the road, you get to see the Stanley Cup. Get to, you know, I never met Sydney at this time either, so it was the first time I met him.
Oh, okay.
And it was cool, man. Like, everyone was super chill there, and there was like, even a lot of people there I know, because it's Enfield, so it's like a small community. So there's a couple people that we knew there. But it was like me, my whole band, my wife, my dad came. There was like 10 of us that went and just had a good time. And
That's sick.
Were you nervous to meet him?
Yeah, were you nervous?
no, I wasn't nervous. No, because we just got off a plane. I remember we landed at the airport and everyone picked us up.
Where were you coming from?
There. London, Ontario. I think
Good
we played
memory.
a festival up there. But we played that on Friday, and then we came back here and just went right out to his thing on Saturday night.
Rockstar.
Well, I was a little bit nervous, not to so much to meet Sydney, but whenever you're doing a show at a place that you're like, what the fuck is this going to be like? Yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay, you're doing a personal party at Crosby's. I was like, you know, they got mics. Like, what's
Do they
going
have
on?
mics?
You just don't know what you're getting into. Once we got there, and we're like, okay, you know, it's cool.
Real deal.
Yeah, it was a really good time, and then we got to go back
Yeah,
the
'cause
next
it's
year after, I think, too.
Well, they won 3 years. Not 3 years in a
Yeah,
row,
we went
but
2 years.
2 years in a row.
Yeah. So, you know, the second time we went, one of my boys lives on the lake, and we jumped in his boat, and we all just took his boat over to Crosby's house, come up, and we just, yeah, it's always a good time, man. Him
Nate.
and his wife. His wife's super nice. His wife got along really good with my wife, so it was
Cool.
It was cool.
And you started with cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it was a cool
It's cool.
experience. Was Lemieux there?
No.
At one of them?
No, I wish he was there because that's like my era. You
That
know what I
would've
mean?
been
But yeah,
sick.
no Lemieux.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Talk about like, just talk about like an experience that you got to you actually got to live that, like partying at a Stanley Cup party, and you got to
Yeah.
perform. Like that's
Totally.
two,
Just
like,
coming from where I come, it was like hockey and rap. Like that was my life, you know.
Yeah.
Hockey from 5 till 16.
Yeah.
Then really got into music and didn't pay too much attention to hockey. Now I'm playing that like 2 or 3 times a week with my dad and my brothers, getting to go to the Crosby Stanley Cup party. It was
Yeah.
definitely a trip. It was
sick.
cool. It was cool.
Name some of the other memorable experiences of being classified. There must be some, like you got to go backstage and Jay-Z was there or something like that. Like we haven't even talked about meeting Nardwuar. Like that's a cool experience
Yeah,
in my
that was a
book,
while
but
ago, man.
Talk about that. Like what's that guy like? Like what's he like as a real person?
Same
Not
shit.
on. Is he the same guy?
He didn't break character, which was, so I was like, man, come on, can we just talk for a minute?
And he's like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
But this was like, what year was that we did that? That was probably like 10 years ago now, 10, 12 years ago. And we were out in Vancouver.
he
This
lives
was
out
before
there.
O Canada and everything. Yeah, this was a while ago. This was maybe 15 years ago. But yeah, he was cool. He pulled out like Hip Club Groove, which is like an old rap group from here, which Trailer Park Boys was Corey, the guy from Trailer Park Boys.
Corey
he was in
Smokes.
this, yeah, exactly, Corey Bowles. He was the rapper in this group, and you know, he pulled that album out and referenced the Trailer Park Boys. And what else did he pull out? It was a minute ago, man. I haven't seen that interview in a while, so. But it was cool, man. It was Nardwuar, but it was before Nardwuar was what he was now. Like he was on the come up, and he was doing a lot of Canadian stuff. But now he's done Jay-Z. He's
Yeah.
done.
I think it was
so many big things now that it's like
Yeah.
Nardwuar is on a whole different level now.
It was that Pharrell interview, I think.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first one when they're sitting on the window ledge in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And he was just amazed, blown away.
Yeah, because that's how Jay-Z got it. Pharrell told Jay-Z, "Yo, you got to do this interview."
I wasn't a fan of the Jay-Z interview.
Yeah,
Jay-Z was
I like the Snoop ones. He's got like 15
Yeah.
Snoop where he's just pulled out shit, old
Yeah.
vinyl and old classic like LA rap groups and stuff. So
Oh yeah, you've met Snoop a bunch of times.
Yeah.
What's he like as a guy?
exact same as
Yeah. All these guys are the exact same as they are on
yeah.
camera.
Well, Nardwuar, it's like a character, so I kind of thought like, okay, it's gonna break for a sec. Let's talk like normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Snoop is Snoop. Like we've done a couple shows for him. We played in Cape Breton.
Yeah.
With him in Cape Breton. We played with him at this fucking, I think it was a Hell's Angels party in Chilliwack, BC, in the middle of the woods for like 15,000 people. I remember we flew out. We took a couple friends. We all flew out on Saturday morning. They picked us up in a limo. This is the limo days when people had limos, and drove us in the middle of the woods, like middle of nowhere. And it was like Snoop was there, Swollen Members was there, Little John, Bubba Sparks.
Little John.
Like just all these people. I was like, man, where the fuck are we? You know what I mean? Did the show and drove right back to the airport and flew home. Like we didn't stay even one full day. But that was kind of like my first experience seeing Snoop play. And it was just like a memorable, crazy, wicked party. But then when we did the song, he came down to shoot Trailer Park Boys. And he was staying at a hotel in Truro. And yeah, a lot of people didn't know this. He was there for like 2 weeks. They just gave him like the whole motel. Or I guess the Trailer Park Boys had the whole motel. And we were talking to his management about doing a song for a couple months. And then when we found out he was here, I was like, yo, he's 20 minutes from me. So then his manager called. It's like, yo, Snoop's coming to your house in Enfield tonight. So I was like, what? Snoop's coming to Enfield? You know, so I clean up the studio,
Was he
get it
in
all
here?
right. No, he calls me at like 6 o'clock. He's like, yo, Snoop can't make it tonight. Tomorrow night. I was like, all right. cool. Snoop's coming. You know what I mean? I had the party set up. I was like, Snoop's coming. Everybody got to come. We're just having a party. We're going to do a Snoop song.
That's amazing.
And then Thursday canceled too. He was like, "Oh, we can't make it tonight." He's like, "Can you bring a studio to Snoop on Friday?" I was like, "Whatever I got to do, man." So I called a guy I know who like runs studios and stuff. He brought like a makeshift studio to the hotel in Truro, set up the studio in the hotel room, and then Snoop came over and we hung out for like 2 hours and made the record.
Wow.
And it was just like Snoop, like, you know what I mean? Smoking his blunts.
That's sick.
Oh yeah,
His weed's the real deal?
I don't know. It was good, like, but it wasn't like
It was Truro weed. It was probably Truro weed.
No, actually, I think it was Amy Anonymous because she's like the hookup from Toronto. There's this girl we know. She like kind of hooks up everybody in Toronto.
Yeah.
But she flew out to like basically supply everybody weed for the week. So
What a job. Yeah. Are they hired? Dudes, we should have got you a mic.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, Dudes is in the background, by the way. We didn't get him a mic, but he's in there. He's putting in the awkward pauses in the conversation are with him back there.
I'm just the weird guy.
Should've
He's the
gave him a
weird
mic,
guy in
man.
the
We
back.
could have gave him another mic.
Is there another mic?
I got my mic over there. The one I unhooked from this to hook.
Well, it's too late now. If you want to say anything, just let me know.
Just lean in.
Just lean in, yeah.
I'm just waiting for him to light his shit so I can use the lighter.
Or if you want to light up, go ahead. Oh.
I didn't want to run across the cage.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. Well, that was a great start. So the life of Classified right now: family man, wife, the kids, successful career. How old are you now? 40?
41.
41.
I know. Mentally, 23.
You still feel young.
Physically, 38.
Yeah. But talk about the career you have. Most people wake up 9 to 5 and go work a job, and you get to do this. Do you ever wake up sometimes and go, holy shit?
All the time.
Like,
man.
I'm very thankful.
All the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll get up with my kids at 7 o'clock, get into school. Like today, usually my wife gets up. Today I got up because I wanted her to stay up last night and watch The Dirt, the Motley Crue movie.
Oh, is that on Netflix?
Yeah, I watched it last night. It was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. But anyway, I got up this morning with them at 7 o'clock, took them to school, you know, said my goodbyes, and I went back to bed till like 9:30. And just moments like that, it's like, man, I'm pretty lucky that I get to be able to do little things like this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I came out here at 10:30, worked on a bit of music, cleaned up a little bit. You know, we had a party on Friday, so there was shit everywhere. So I had to clean it up for you guys.
Oh,
And
thanks,
then,
man.
you know what I
Appreciate
mean?
it.
Went in for some lunch, and now I'm doing this, man. Just chilling at my house, kind of talking about what I do. So, no, I'm definitely very lucky, I think, to where I'm at. And not just with my career, but like just relationship-wise, just like always kind of kept on top of my shit. I didn't want to have one of those marriages where I hated on my wife all the time, was complaining about, I got to go do this. So it's a good balance, man. Like I get to hang with my friends a lot, hang with my wife. I went motorbiking last night for like 3 hours till 9 o'clock at night with my brother-in-law, and yeah, man, just chilling. So it's definitely blessed.
It's interesting that you bring up your wife, and I never thought of that. I have a girlfriend myself, and doing this stuff, traveling for these podcasts, you got to have a woman at home that's very
Understands it, man. Patient, understands it, not jealous,
not
trustworthy.
jealous.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Like
Yeah.
I've had enough guys on the road with me that have constantly, definitely got to build it, you know what I mean? But I've seen the other side of it a lot.
What's the other side like?
On the phone fighting every morning, you know what I mean? I didn't know. What do you mean you read that? And just, you know what I mean?
That must affect
it could
the
be a lot of
mental.
stress. Well, it does affect you mentally, but also it's hard to focus on working on a song when your relationship's going to shit, and it's hard to focus on getting ready for shows or whatever it is. If, you know, personally everything's in shambles, it's like, man, I'm one of those people that if something ain't right, I got to fix it right away.
Yeah.
Or else I can't do other things.
You can't
I just
focus on
relax.
this 100%.
Totally. It's like, hey, what the fuck's this matter? I got to go deal with this right now. So
Yeah.
I try to keep both in check, so I'm not worrying about one or the other.
Yeah. I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I just think, well, not as a rapper, just as an entertainer in general, someone that's always, you know, I guess in the limelight, just trying to work. I'm not saying I'm on a level as you, but like you can start to notice it. The more you talk to people, like the more you're out there, it becomes a thing that you think about a lot.
Yeah,
Was there ever
totally.
a point where, I guess not really regretted it, but not regretted the career? That's a stupid question. You've obviously never regretted it.
The only stupid question is the one not asked.
Yeah, that's a wise man.
But yeah.
The hockey coach. Okay, let's go outside of rap. Hobbies outside of here. I see a bunch of dirt bikes out there. I see a bunch of like a tennis net, hockey sticks like that. Outside of rap, what do you like to do?
Have fun.
You just like to be with your kids,
I
eh?
have fun, man.
Yeah.
What, my kids or friends, man. Like I said, like I got a lot of the same friends. So
Yeah.
like Friday night we'll go have some drinks in here, and then we'll go play basketball for 2 hours on the court.
Yeah.
We'll go skateboarding. We'll go dirt biking on the pass back here. Like, I just like doing shit with people. But I've always been like that. Like, even back to the days of growing up, like after school, you'd get the sticks, you'd go play ground hockey or go play soccer or whatever. Like, it was just always doing active stuff. So I'm still the same way, man. I like competition, I guess.
Competition.
You know what I mean? Like, let's go. Let's get some sports going. What's the score? You know, I'm that guy that's yelling at the score after every goal. 5-4 for us. Yeah.
How did the season go this year? I forget what you said. You're in the hockey
This
team.
is our gentleman's league. We just got put out. Like, this weekend is supposed to be our big playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, we make it every year. We have a big party. This year we didn't make it. Sad.
What position do you play?
Center.
Center. What line? First, second, third?
Usually first or second.
Big wig. First line center. First line
Top six,
center.
you know, yeah, the wind's bad though, so I do the quick shifts, man. No,
PK power play?
No.
What curve do you use? Heel, toe, middle?
As small as I can find, man. I find curves nowadays are so crazy compared to what I used to use. So I'm usually looking for a stick that's like, obviously not straight, but just
like Crosby straight. Crosby's is real straight.
I think actually the Bauer I got might be a Crosby.
Really?
Yeah.
What way do you shoot, right or left?
Left.
What flex do you use? 185 or 85?
90.
90.
90, 95, somewhere. I started on 85 because I came up on the wood sticks. I didn't even know about none of that shit when I came back. Like, I still got my wood stick downstairs. I picked it up the other day, and I was like, man, this thing weighs a ton. Yeah, but yeah, I think at the first, flex or whatever you call it was 85, but I felt it was too much. Like, I liked it a little more stiff. So
Yeah.
I think the one I got now is like 95 or 90 or something.
Did you play competitively when you were younger?
Yeah, but I was always like the host league kid.
Oh.
Yeah. Tore up the host league.
League.
I get to go up a couple of times. Like, I played before midget. What's midget AAA now? Major midget?
No, it's called major midget now. Or no.
Yeah, but what used to be like midget AAA in the 90s is major midget. Yeah, so I played AA. I didn't play AAA. Wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, everything's different, eh?
Crazy.
Do you have 2 daughters right now?
3.
3? Are they going to put them in hockey? Or what do they like to do?
2 of them are already in. They didn't feel it.
No.
The oldest one's in basketball. The other 2 are in gymnastics. And
Cool.
basketball's cheap, and I like it too. Like, I was never a basketball kid growing up. But I like going to the games. Like, I enjoy it. I find it's pretty.
It's fun to play.
watch. Totally, you're starting to learn, what it is and what they're doing. Before I was just like, man, they just score every 2 seconds. Like, who cares? Like, once it gets down to 100 to 102, then I'll start, going, okay, who's going to win the game? But yeah, now that I've learned about it a bit, it's pretty interesting to watch.
It's probably one of my favorite sports to play because I've played hockey my whole life. So when you're done, you're kind of sick of it, and then when you get to play another sport, you're just like, all right, I like doing this. And I'd say you probably stay in the best shape when you're playing basketball. You're just running nonstop. You're always going back and forth.
That soccer too. The kids were in that for a bit, but they didn't stick with that.
Oh yeah, soccer. Do the kids have an act for music at all?
They made a song the other day.
Yeah. Oh, does anyone else know
throw the
that?
auto tune on, just start playing some
auto-tune.
keys, and they just start free. It's funny, man. Like, I think it's funny when they start doing some stuff. But it's usually when they got like a couple friends over and they're bored looking for something to do. And,
Oh yeah.
okay, can we go in the studio? And
So they almost
That's sick.
Realize, I guess famous as a.
a little bit, yeah. Like the older ones. One's only 5, so she doesn't really get it. But like, they're with me. Like, we go to Costco and people are asking for pictures and autographs. At first, they were a little bit like,
Yeah.
why does that person want a picture with you? You know what I mean? But they kind of get it now.
They get that you're like out in the public eye and they know that you're famous. Did you ever hate that at a time, like where maybe a fan was trying to pull you away from your kids?
Not usually. Most of my fans are pretty respectful. Like, to be like, hey, I know you're with your family and, are you cool with this? Once in a while you get something. Like, I did something like a week or 2 ago. Where the hell were we? I think we were at the pool or something. Like the what's the new one? The Canada Game Center.
Oh yeah, nice pool.
Yeah, but I was watching my kid, and like these people kind of like ran up, like, hey, can you do? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. But they kept asking, I'm like, yo, I'm watching my kid swim right now, who's not like the great. Exactly. It wasn't like, oh, I'm with my kid, leave me alone. But it was like, yo, I gotta watch my kid. She could drown. Like, get the fuck out of the way for a sec. That doesn't happen too much though. Most people are pretty respectful. And stuff, so.
And it's where we're from too, Nova Scotia. Like
that, and just like, I don't make Justin Bieber music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, if I exactly. Like, if I was Bieber, Shawn Mendes, it's just the pandemonium. You got a bunch of 12-year-old girls that are losing their shit.
Yeah.
Most of the time that I meet people, it's like grown-ups. You know what I mean? So they're not like fangirling out over me. There's like, oh, dude, I love your music,
Big
love
fan.
this. Or it'll even be a younger kid that's, hey, dude, my daughter loves Inner Ninja. Would you mind getting a picture? It's like,
my daughter loves
It's all
Inner
good.
Ninja.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Step on
when
Those too, right? Like, you just like
Small town shit, you know what I mean? Like people, especially around here, like in Enfield, where I go to Sobeys. Like I used to work at Sobeys in Elmsdale.
Did you?
I still, yeah.
do you ever go back there and see some people you used to work with?
Yeah, I go there like once every week. There's not too many people that I work with. A couple people that I still recognize there,
Yeah.
but
That's funny.
Sobeys turnover rate's pretty quick, I think.
It is. I think everyone's had a job interview there at least once.
Yeah,
Everyone's worked there at least once.
Yeah, my brother worked there. Everybody's worked at Sobeys. So
It's a great job. I love those jobs. Those jobs are.
and I hated it.
I know you hate them, but they're
I
great
worked
for
Wednesday and Saturdays, and I usually
Wednesdays
called in sick one of those days. Like I think that's one reason why like I really go hard at music and things that I love, because if I don't like something, I'm just so half-ass about it.
You hate answering to the man.
Not
Do you
even
ever
the
hate
man. I
that?
just hate doing the same shit over and over again that I'm not interested in at all. Like
Yeah.
stocking the shelves and bringing out the bread and switching the bread, or like how many fucking times
Yeah.
can you do that before you
Yeah.
lose your shit? Obviously, you know, people need jobs, so I'm not hating on anybody. But for me, being a kid, it was like, man, I can't do this forever. I gotta
Yeah.
do something else.
Did you ever find yourself in school not really paying attention because you weren't interested in it, but once you found something that you loved, you just had a whole nother work ethic that you never knew you had? Was there anything like that?
Not really, but I wasn't like a bad kid. Like I was like an average C student kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like history and all that stuff I never liked.
No.
Math I wasn't bad at. Math was
Really?
good. Yeah, math is, which my daughter's struggling with right now. So it's kind of like,
Do you
but
help-
math
do you
is
help
way
her out?
different now. Well, it's way different.
What do you mean? How's it different?
The way
Math is
they
math.
do division, no, it's not. The game's changed.
the math
They
game's
changed everything. Like they don't do, you know what I mean? If you had 365 times 5, you'd go up and then carry your ones and all that. It's way different now.
Wait, you got to explain this to me.
I don't understand it yet.
I thought you were good at math.
I was old school math.
Old
The
school
new
math.
school math, it's like, yeah, it's just different. Like my 10-year-old was trying to explain how they do it now. I was like, oh shit, okay.
I have to go in for
Oh man,
Still don't understand it.
I
yeah.
might have to go in for a class.
But yeah, now school, it wasn't like, I don't know, like it wasn't, you know, like any kid. I didn't like school that much, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like I hated it and, you know, rejected everybody and went to a dark spot and
Yeah.
had to find my,
Yeah.
no, like I was like an average kid. I got along with the skaters, because I skateboarded too. So it was the skaters, the hockey players. And then when I started getting music, it was more so like you know, for me, there was no rappers, so it was like hanging out with the grunge bands and shit, and they would jam. I'd come over and do like the rap. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So I hung around with a lot of different people.
You ever go to parent?
Yeah, it was.
You ever go to parent teacher meetings now?
Oh yeah.
What are those like? I hear those are funny in real life. What do they say?
My kids are pretty good, so really nothing. Like, oh, you know, Taylor's doing good, you know. She gets along great, you know, they'll tell you a funny story. I'm like, cool, glad we came.
See you later.
Yeah. You know, my youngest is kind of a wild one, so I'm a little bit worried about her.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so far it's pretty chill. You kind of just go
Yeah.
in, show face, and like, okay, we're parents that care, and
Sick.
kids seem to be doing good.
Man, that's a whole. Now you even think about it. Like we're living life, dudes and I right now, but you are living a totally different life. Not even in regards to rap or anything, but parenting. That's a
Parenting,
whole other
man.
part of life that, like, did you like the moment your first kid was born? Did you just kind of have a switch? Like, oh, okay, wait a second, I'm
Not at all,
responsible.
man. Not
you
at
just
all.
kept.
I
like,
thought I was supposed to.
Were you nervous at all? Like when your wife was pregnant, like was like, okay, I got to kind of grow up here. Is there any
Not
fear
really.
like that?
A little bit, but more so for my second one. I was like, okay, shit, now we got 2 coming. Like, this is going to be something.
Another-
But like the first one, you know, I was almost 30 years old when I had my first kid. So
Okay,
it
so
wasn't
that's
like
a-
I was super young, you know what I mean? And like my parents live over there. My wife's parents live close by. Like we have so much family and stuff that it's like,
Yeah.
I don't really freak out about that stuff because I got enough kind of support to go to.
Okay, so
which is
don't-
great for me and my wife because we're touring, and you know, more so a couple years ago when I was touring and going away a lot more, there was always people around to kind of help her out.
Yeah, you're helping me out a lot right now. So the key is don't
Keep
move
the
away from
family.
home.
No.
Stay
Straight
close to
up.
mom and dad
If
so they
you
can
keep
babysit.
your mom and dad, you got guaranteed babysitters all the time, and
And you don't have to pay them either.
straight up, man, it's like a blessing. Like my wife's father's over here every morning, like with my youngest,
Sick.
playing with them, and just, you know, especially for having daughters, like
Yeah.
the more male attention they can get now, the more they won't need in the future. So it's like, yeah.
Think about when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Your grandparents were always the shit.
They can't hear you on the mic.
Totally,
Right.
but when you were a kid, like, even though my grandparents did live in Enfield, but we didn't see them, like the other side of my grandparents lived in Vancouver, so you'd see them once or twice a year type thing.
Yeah.
So, but like now, like my kids see them like if not every day, every second day, they see both grandparents, like both sets of grandparents.
That's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
rare thing, I feel like, in today's family society. Maybe not.
No, it is, especially
Yeah.
especially you know, especially in the States. Like when I first went there, like how different families are in Canada compared to the States.
Yeah.
People in the States, like they, and I shouldn't say this everything, but the experience I had, it's like they're not like close like we are up in Canada.
They
like,
keep their shoes on when they walk in the house.
yeah, maybe
Can you
so.
believe that? You get dirt tracking all over the floors.
But like you're just like brothers and sisters. They don't see each other for 3-4 years. Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen my sister. She moved to Milwaukee. I haven't seen her since 10 years, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just find that really weird. Just and I guess it is just because I'm so close to my family. But
Yeah.
Less, less space to
we-
travel as Canadians too, right? To see your family, right?
Yeah.
It's huge.
well, actually, Canada's bigger than the States. See, I feel the opposite. I wish I toured more in the States because you can play Philly, drive 3 hours. You're in Jersey. Like you know what I mean? Everything's so close. In Canada, you know, you're playing Winnipeg, you got to drive 8 hours to get to Saskatoon,
Yeah.
8 more hours to get to Calgary. Like, I find that's the biggest horror stories you hear about bands coming to Canada is like, man, you got to drive 8-10 hours every day just to get to the next venue. Where in the States or overseas in Sweden and all this shit, you drive an hour, 2 hours, and you're at the next spot, the next major city because
Yeah.
there's so many people and
Yeah.
you know, there's enough people to do shows that close.
I can't get through this interview without talking to you about Quake. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He just had a great new song that came out actually way up. I remember when he had
Snack the Ripper.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had when he had his party. I interviewed you. I don't know if you remember that. We were on
Yeah,
the roof
up
of the
at the,
library.
library, yeah.
And you had a cool story about Quake about when you first met him coming up to your
bike
house.
ride?
I was wondering if you could
Bikes?
tell that story right now.
Yeah. It's just, well, when he first came out, he was maybe 14 years old, maybe 15. Somewhere in that age bracket or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, I was living on Almond, the same street I did the Maritimes when we were talking about that apartment. And, you know, he hit me up like, hey, I need some beats. And this was like in my days of writing down, so Quake 3 beats, you know what I mean? Kind of all ties together. But, you know, he called me up or emailed me, whatever the hell it was. He was like, yeah, come on over. And I remember being on my deck cooking hamburgers, Sunrise hamburgers. Best hamburgers in the game, Sunrise. And him and his buddy were just like putting their bikes over by my garbage. I thought it was just 2 kids digging through my garbage. I was like, what the fuck are these kids doing? I went in the house and then they knock on the door. He's like, hey, I'm Quake. And I was like, oh my God, like just young little kids. So yeah, man, biked over. Yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah, no, man, Quake killing it, man. He's been doing his thing since, well, how old's Quake now?
Third year. No, yeah, he's
Is he
29,
30?
28, 29, I think he is right now.
Fuck, so yeah, that's, like 14 years now. So
That's
it's
crazy.
cool to see him come up. And yeah, I got him on my new album. We just shot a video for Supernova Scotia, which is coming out in like the next month. But like with Pat Stay, Scratch Bastard, Bubbles,
Yeah.
me, Tyrone, Jordan.
Bubbles.
Just a bunch. Yeah, Knucklehead. So like that's a guy I was in a ground squad with in 2000. Like me and him were in a rap group. So like it all kind of ties, man. And it comes right back to, like I said, the Canadian scene, even more so the East Coast scene, how small and tight it is. It's
Yeah.
like if you know someone and you're doing some shit, you're gonna run into them somewhere here and there.
What's some advice that you give to young rappers that are coming up? I'm sure people want
Do
to
shows.
That's it?
Do shows.
Get a fan base.
To just make it real, man. Like don't just sit on the internet because there's too many people that are just like an internet account. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like get out there, learn how to do shows. That's where you're gonna make your money. And go hard. Like if you're really trying to do this shit, wake up and go, what the fuck am I gonna do today? Like don't sit around and wait for someone to call you. Get up. There's something you can be doing to further your career. You know what I mean? Don't wait around for people. Like
Always.
you know what I mean? I tried to get a record deal when I first came out. No one wanted to sign me. No one wanted to do it. So I started my own label, which, nowadays you can create a fucking Gmail account. You're a record label. You know what I mean? It doesn't take much these days. You get your account on Spotify and put up your music. So it's just don't wait on one. Don't expect no one else to do the shit for you because they probably won't.
Do you feel like there's been a difference in the music industry from when you first started to now? Maybe there's been a change in management. Maybe there's been a change in finding an actual fan base.
Yeah. Well, just even like Much Music. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, if you had a video on Much Music in regular rotation, you could probably build like a small type of career off of that. Like that was the way people heard music before there was the internet and YouTube and shit. It was like you turn on Much Music and you go, oh, Classified, who is this guy doing No Mistakes or whatever my first video was that came out, like, and that was the only way people heard music. So Now it's like anybody can shoot videos. You can shoot videos for $500 that look like they're $20,000 videos.
It's on an iPhone if you want.
Straight up. Like before, you know, you'd had to get a video fact. You'd have to spend 10, 15 grand to make a video. So like back in the day when someone had a video, you're like, oh shit, this guy's doing something. Like they got a video.
I never thought of that.
Like
because
that
you got to put
to me
you
is
need
the
a budget.
biggest game changer. It's like there's just
Anyone can
now
do it.
anybody can do anything, which is great because you know what I mean. Those people who want to work hard and work at their ass off, they can do that now. But there's 900,000 more people doing the same shit now that are kind of trying to take the same lane you are.
So in order to differentiate yourself, you have to make shows. You have to go on the
Do
road.
shows,
You have to
get out
talk
there,
to your
meet
fans.
people. Exactly.
So that's
like,
the key
to me
to
how
it.
you like our first tour of Canada, we did it on a Greyhound bus in front of like the average show was like 15, 20 people. You know what I mean? We got like $100-$200 for the show. We buy our next ticket to the next city and go do the next show. And like that shit was fun as hell. Looking back now, I'm like, fuck that. I would never do that. Sitting on the Greyhound for $150. Like,
Do you have the?
but,
You
what's
go.
that?
No, you go.
I was going to say, but like, you know, the next one we came through, we rented a minivan and we were making $750 a show. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, we just made $750 a show. And like, you know, when you're on the come up, you're like, whoa.
That's a lot. That's rent.
That's $750 in an hour on stage. You know what I mean? And then the next one you come back, you're making $3,000 a show and you're on the tour bus. And the next one you're making
my
10
God.
grand a show and you got your full band with you. You got a lighting guy. Like it just kind of kept growing. You know what I mean? So it's,
I can't believe that.
yeah,
That's a dream come
but
true.
it's totally, it straight up is, but it's building. You know what I mean? Like if I came
patience.
right out and had a hit song on radio and I had the tour bus and it was like, boom, I'm on the bus. Like it would probably all been downhill. Like it's kind of a blessing that it took me that long and took a little bit of growth to kind of, because it makes me appreciate it too. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like when I got on my first tour bus and got my first bed on the thing, like we were chilling.
got a
All of us, the whole crew
It's
was
the
just
little
like,
things.
this is the fucking life right now. You know what I mean? And that's the excitement. Like that's why I could be 30, 35 years old and still be excited to be like, yo, let's go on tour, man. This is going to be fun. And it's still fun to me, man. Like, so it's
So
small growth, just growing.
So even if you're on your first, like obviously the first show of the tour, you're pumped. Same with the last show, you still got the same energy. You're still just
Nah.
like, is it what's the key?
It's a different excitement. The last show of tour, you're excited to get the hell home. Like, you know,
What's
what I mean?
the key to staying consistent on tour though? Because like, you know, you're sleeping on a bus full with a bunch of dudes. Like it's, you know,
People that you being with people you get along with is super important.
just
Like
no
everyone on my
negative.
bus, we get along with great. If we have someone that acts like a fool or, you know, because we hire tour managers, we hire lighting guys, we hire merch guys.
lighting guys. I never thought of that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But a lot of these people, like my crew, me, my two brothers, DJ IV, you know, Osan now, who's a keyboard player, he tours with me. These are all guys I get along with, I know. So I know on the road we're good. But like we've had to fire tour managers before just because I was like, man, I don't like your fucking attitude. I don't like you got to have a good attitude or I don't want you around me type thing. And it's like, you know, send
That's
them
that
home
guy.
and bring somebody else out. You know what I mean? But having people around that you can get along with is a game changer.
That's good
it keeps
advice.
it fun, man. Like it keeps it, you're not stressed. You're not fucking worried about this or like, oh dude, how's this guy feeling today? Like,
You just know everybody.
yeah,
You know,
like,
you know-
and this goes back to me saying like, if something ain't right, I got to fix it before I can focus on my music and what I'm trying to do. But yeah, man, getting along with people and then the rest of it is just like a blur, man. You kind of like, you know, say if we start in Vancouver, we'll fly to Vancouver, say Saturday morning, go do our sound check, set up everything, start drinking around 9, have a couple drinks, and then by 11 we're on stage till 12:30. We get off, we after party till probably 4 in the morning. And then by this point, we usually have our driver to drive at night. So we'll party till like 4 in the morning. Bus driver will show up as we're all kind of just winding down. And then they'll drive to the next town, which is like 8 hours. So we
Yeah.
finish our party. We all crash, go to sleep till, you know, at 5 o'clock in the morning. We go sleep in our beds. Wake up at 12 o'clock and like, where are we? Okay, we're in Edmonton. Get up, find some breakfast, go brush your teeth, go to the hotel, shower up, and then, you know, 9 o'clock, drink start again and go for it again.
So sometimes you wake up in a city and you forget where you are. You're just like, where the fuck am I right now? That must have happened.
For a minute, yeah, for a minute, definitely. But then you're like, oh yeah, shit, Saskatoon was last night. Yeah. Like I usually know my order because I'm really on my business. So like when I go on tour, like I know
Yeah.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
But it definitely takes a minute. Sometimes you just wake up and be like, okay,
Yeah.
we're here now. Yeah. But it's
Man.
just rotating, man. But it's once you get on stage, it's like it sounds so cliche to say, but it's like as soon as you hit the stage, like all that other shit of I'm tired, I'm wore out, and
Just
just
goes
goes
away.
away.
Same with when you're playing.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Same, yeah.
Everything goes
You get out there and you get in the zone and feel off the people, and yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, man, we're coming up on an hour here. The last minute is
that an hour?
yours. What's an hour, man? It flies by.
Man, where's my light? I didn't even smoke it. I
That's
thought we were like 10 minutes in, man.
no. You thought you were. See, isn't that?
See,
I'm not trying to pump my own tires, but I feel like that's my.
Hey, you sounded kind of cocky right now.
Yeah,
bro.
okay, no, whoa,
Just
no
fucking with
cocky,
you, man.
no cocky, no cocky.
No, but that's good. That's what I mean. If we can conversate for an hour and it feels like 20 minutes, that's a good thing.
Well, that's when people come on. They're just like, I'm a little nervous for this interview. I don't know if I have anything to talk about. I'm just like, man, it's not an interview. It's just a conversation about your
Shooting the
life.
shit about what's going on.
It's like I remember saying this. Who was I talking to yesterday? I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, "What are you going to ask them?" And a big part of when I do these interviews, when I first started them, I used to write down notes and like, here's what I'm going to ask them. I'd go on their Wikipedia page or Facebook page if it's someone not that big.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what were you doing here? What were you doing there? And I used to ask the questions, but I wasn't even listening because I was worried about my next question.
What are you
saying?
The worst shit, man.
And then
I've done interviews like that, and I fucking hate that. Like
Isn't it?
more than anything, it's like, hey, tell me about this, and you're explaining, trying to tell them a story,
he's
and
just
they're
like
looking
this.
down there, like, dude, you don't even care. You're just waiting for the next question to come out. It's like, that's the worst.
And it's funny, when I started doing this, that's what I did do that, and the downloads are all right. And then I just kind of put the notebook away and just actually sat there and had a real conversation. And then the next thing you know,
and it seems like you actually care of what you're gonna say. And you know, as the person on the other end, like, it makes me more interested to keep the story going and talking about, because it seems like you're paying attention.
Yeah, well,
it's a bit different.
Yeah, it's also the Maritime, I think, in the, what'd you say?
The classic hockey interview. And the guys
The
the team played really good. The goalie was
The classic hockey interview.
We're looking real good this year.
You got to put pucks deep. You got to stay out of the box.
Lots of
it's a lot of yeah, exactly.
You do the cat. That's all you hear after a while.
Yeah, you know. But yeah. So life's good.
Life's good, man. Can't complain.
But I was gonna say, it's the Maritime in you. Maritimes care. Like, I think that's a good, like, we started this podcast out in Vancouver and it was doing all right. Yeah. But I noticed all of our downloads were coming from the Maritimes. So I was like, I'm just moving back to the Maritimes. We moved back here, and the next thing you know, downloads tripled.
Really?
Because people around here care. Like, look at you, man. You wouldn't, we're a small podcast, we're growing, but you're helping us out tremendously because you care. We're from the Maritimes, and there's so many other people. I'm sure you've had people like that, even if it's someone saying, listen, take these microphones for a week, rent free, take them. It's all you. I'm trying to help you out. Mm-hmm. It's another example is, Jill Saunier, right? She plays on the Olympic team for Team Canada.
Yeah.
About the Barho family, they passed away, and they had like a game to raise money for the team. Mm-hmm. And they had a game at the BMO Center. I think 500 people, 700 people showed up, donated money. They almost raised $50,000 for this family. No one, I don't, but I'm sure not a lot of people met this family. But for what happened, it's just amazing what this community in this part of the world can do to help out.
Fredericton with the those cops that got shot.
Yeah.
Last September, I think it was. Like, they threw a benefit or whatever. They asked us, Matt Mays, the Trues, a bunch of us went up there, and they were just like, yo, we're taking the arena out, sold the arena out, and we had a fucking, like, just everybody just in good spirits and being out there for a good cause. And, like, tickets weren't cheap either. Like, these were expensive tickets. They sold it out just because people want to support, and they know it's like, it's a community coming together, after a tragic loss or whatever.
And I don't want to shit on like Ontario or other parts of the country where something like that happened, like a community wouldn't gather together. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just
no, because the same thing happened with the Broncos out west when that thing went down.
Yeah,
like it's
everywhere.
Thing, hopefully a people thing, not even a Canadian thing.
Yeah, just
you know what I mean.
I know.
I'm sure if they were to talk about it, they would talk about it differently than we would, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The fucking lighter's gone.
Dudes, you burnt the lighter.
You used all my lighter, man.
You can walk in. All right, we're good here, man. I think we got everything. I appreciate you coming on, man. This was a great time talking to you. Like I said, though, the last minute is yours. So if you want to thank your family, friends, wife, kids, anything, go ahead and do what you got to say.
I'd like to thank my hockey coach, Pee Wee Hostleg, Dale Hurdle. Shout out to Dale. I appreciate you guys coming out here, just doing this out here. This is kind of my comfort spot, so I try to keep everything Enfield as I can.
I was going to say, you're cooking lunch for us after this, right? We need some food.
We got some sunrise.
Some pizza pockets
ready to go, bud. But no, man, thanks for coming out here. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting me for 20 years. You know what I mean? The fact that I can sit here in Enfield and still make rap music like I did when I was 18 years old. You know what I mean? It's definitely a blessing, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone listening, thank you very much for the support as well. Go to all of our social media outlets, like, subscribe, comment. From Justin, Classified Dudes, we're out. Peace. Yeah.